Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Real. It's Slayer Sunday, where I'll be talking about and reviewing all the episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in order. Today I'm looking at Season 3, Episode 2, Dead Man's Party. We begin the episode with Buffy quietly unpacking her things before jump-scaring Joyce, who had gotten used to being alone in the house. Luckily, this ugly-ass Nigerian mask covers the hole, which is overspill from the museum, but Buffy isn't a fan.
It's angry at the room. Mom, it wants the room to suffer.
Buffy asks if it's okay to go out to see Willow and Xander, and despite her trying to mother Buffy, Joyce says it's cool. She's out walking when she hears a crash and gets into an accidental fight with Xander before saying this.
Didn't anyone ever warn you about playing with pointy sticks? It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye.
Yeah, Xander, you'd better remember that one. Before they can greet each other properly, a vampire busts out of nowhere and they get into a fight. The girls rush to help, pinning the vampire against the wall, but Oz gets kicked again and everything starts to go wrong, so Buffy has to step in to finish it off. She's able to say hi to the rest of the group and into the credits we go. Buffy nervously goes to Giles, who's happy to see her, and the way he looks at her combined with Buffy's little smile is enough to make me tear up. Oz tells Buffy that she's no longer wanted for Kendra's murder, and she and Xander have a good laugh. But Giles, bless his heart, is clearly struggling with his emotions. The gang offers to keep slaying, or attempting to, while Buffy gets settled in, but she says she just wants to get back into it. Although Giles points out the little issue of getting past Snyder in order to go back to school. Joyce sets up a meeting with him, but he seems to be getting off on the idea of not letting her back in. Joyce is furious, but Snyder won't budge, and Buffy storms out. Joyce tells Buffy not to worry, they'll work something out, and she drops her off to meet Willow, but she doesn't show up. As she arrives back home, Buffy meets Pat, her peppy neighbour who is in a book club with Joyce and looked after her while Buffy was absent. Like I've said before, new rando characters always turn out to be victims or monsters. So can you guess which one Pat is? Joyce unconvincingly says that Willow got held up and suggests having her, Giles and the rest of the Scoobies over for dinner the following night. And, despite Buffy's negative reaction, she reveals she's already invited them. Buffy goes into the basement to get the guest plates and finds a cute picture of her, Willow and Xander. And a dead cat, which she and Joyce promptly bury.
Goodbye, stray cat who lost its way. We hope you find it.
That night, while they're sleeping, Joyce's new mask starts to glow and the kitty cat comes back from the dead. Buffy's dreaming again and walks through the abandoned school where Angel meets her and tells her she should be scared. And holy crap, who has an alarm like that? Joyce says she set up a meeting with the superintendent of schools, and if that doesn't work, an all-girls private school is willing to take her. Buffy is not impressed, but Joyce is like, tough shit, these are the consequences of your actions. Joyce suggests telling some people that she's the Slayer so they'll make allowances, but Buffy thinks it's a bad idea and jump scare cat! Giles comes to get the cat out of Joyce's room and notices the mask on the wall. And while Buffy wants to help research, Giles points out she's not allowed on school grounds anymore. Oz is fascinated by the zombie cat, although, are you sure you want to stick your fingers near it? Is it possible to become a werecat as well as a werewolf? Anyway, he names it Patches, like it's gonna give a damn. Willow has some questions about Buffy's gathering, but Oz has some thoughts.
And hootenanny. Well, it's chock full of hoot, just a little bit of nanny.
Xander thinks a dinner where no one wants to talk about what happened is going to be awkward, so Willow suggests Oz and his band play. But Giles thinks a big party is a sucky idea, and I agree.
Okay, so one vote from the old guy for a smelly cheese night, and how many votes for actual fun, huh?
Outvoted, Giles gives in, but is too distracted to notice a page on the mask. Buffy is once again wearing a dress with a ridiculous slit, and Pat comes to the door with a what the fuck waistcoat on. The doorbell goes again and it's Devon and his kit, and soon the party is bumping and who the fuck are all these people? Buffy tries to explain her feelings to Willow, but she can't hear over the music, so she drags her away to ask if everything's okay. Willow says everything is fine, but nothing is fine. The mask starts glowing again, and this poor dead dude, who I guess I should count because I counted Tina in Killed by Death, decides to get back up. Cordelia is necking Xander, which icks Buffy out, and the mask goes off again, so I guess this burn victim goes on the count as well. but he's
up and at them
too. Buffy realizes that most of these people don't know who she is or why there's a party, and overhears Joyce saying it's worse now Buffy is home. Buffy goes to her room to pack while the mask draws a horde of zombies towards the house.
There's a zombie on your lawn. There's a zombie on your lawn.
Did I mention that zombies creep the hell out of me? Giles finally comes across the info on the mask and freaks out, but when he rings the house, some party bro answers and can't understand, so hangs up. Willow catches Buffy packing and they get into an argument over it.
You guys were doing just fine without me.
We were doing the best we could. It's not like we had a lot of choice in the matter.
Willow wants Buffy to talk to her, but Buffy thinks she's been avoiding her and things get very emotional between the two of them. Giles, meanwhile, is driving to the house and he is not impressed.
Do you like my mask? Isn't it pretty? It raises the dead.
And manic, sarcastic Giles is the best. He hits someone, but it's just a zombie, and more are on the way. Joyce walks in and she and Willow attack Buffy, chasing her down into the party, where she yells at her in front of everyone. Buffy tries to defend herself, but Xander jumps in and starts having a go too.
Taking off like you did was incredibly selfish and stupid.
Giles fights off the zombies and gets into his car, but his keys are lying in the road, so after a slight jump cut, he hotwires the thing and speeds away. Xander is still on a tirade, so Cordelia tries to help Buffy, but fails miserably.
Cordy, get out of my shoes.
And things get really heated, so bless Oz, he tries to calm everyone down. But Willow says not to bother and the zombies break in. Wait, is that Darrell Epps? Too late, I've already counted him as dead. Buffy fights, which would explain the need for the dress slit, and Joyce helps. And while she confirms they're not vampires, one of them grabs Pat. A cool team up of Devon, Joyce and Oz yeet a zombie out of the door, but they bust back through and grab Oz. But the gang just leave him to flee upstairs where they find Pat, and it's Cordelia who has to rescue him. As the zombies break into Joyce's bedroom, they declare Pat to be dead, and they're the boss, I suppose. The mask activates again.
What do we do if they get in?
I kind of think we die.
And oop, Pat is up again. Oz and Cordelia arm themselves and sneak out of the closet, only to nearly skewer Giles in the face. He explains it's so quiet because the zombies are drawn to the mask upstairs, which will turn one of them into a demon if they put it on. So it's bad news bears that Pat decides to Jim Carrey herself, and the zombies recoil.
Generally speaking, when scary things get scared, not good.
The mask flashes like a camera, startling both Buffy and Willow, but with the latter in danger, the former dive tackles zombie demon Pat out of the window. Joyce beats down one zombie, while Giles holds off another, and sends Oz, who does a cool little hop over the banister, to tell Buffy to aim for the demon's eyes. Pat flashes Buffy again, but Oz causes a distraction and takes one for the team, so Buffy can stab her in the face.
Major luck.
With Pat defeated, the zombies disappear, but unfortunately, the property damage doesn't. Everyone regroups and hugs Ahad, and the next day, Giles goes to see Snyder, who says he has an appointment with the mayor. Giles says he has to let Buffy come back to school and threatens him with legal action, followed by physical violence. And what did I tell you? Manic Giles. The episode ends with Willow telling Buffy she's into witchcraft and they call each other names. Okay, so I was dreading doing this episode because I remember hating it, but the part I hate doesn't happen until almost 30 minutes in, but I'll come back to that. The episode as a whole reminds me very much of When She Was Bad. Buffy has been away all summer, when she returns she's struggling to adjust, and her friends are dicks to her mental health. So it's fair to say that Dead Men's Party is not my favourite. Sorry Oingo Boingo. With it being a mashup of When She Was Bad and Pet Sematary, it's not really anything new or exciting. And as well as a pointless angel dream sequence so David Boreanaz can make a paycheck, the big fight in the middle of the party is pretty hard to watch. First of all, the idea of a party seems dumb, seeing as Buffy hasn't attended any of the major school parties so far. Plus, she had a disastrous one in Reptile Boy. And second, this dog pile effect makes everyone seem like a dick, and Willow goes from heartfelt in Buffy's room to being an ass in the space of a few minutes, which is a case of character flip-flopping that this show sometimes does. As I've said, I hate zombies, and Pat as a villain was pretty wishy-washy. Having said that, this episode makes me love Oz even more, because even though he's the newest member of the group and could be easily led, he's the only one not to join in the dog pile, and instead tries to calm everybody down. Manic Giles is amazing, and we are now seeing the bleed through of his past as Ripper combined with his strong bond with Buffy that supersedes everything. I love that we get a team up of Oz, Cordelia, and Giles. That's the kind of energy I need in my life. And I super love that it's Cordelia who saves Oz from the zombies after everyone, including Willow, runs off. It's such a strong move for her character, and it shows that Xander's protective instincts are rubbing off on her. Now, before we get to the death count, I'm going to explain how I classify transformations, because I've had some questions from viewers, and after having a little chat with Moritz Hoffinger, I feel the need to clarify because it's very relevant to this episode. So a transformation is any irreversible change into another form, like vampires being sired and the fish monsters in Go Fish. And their humanity must be unrecognizable, which is why Oz becoming a werewolf doesn't count as a transformation because he's very much himself most of the time. Another important thing to note is that we must have seen the character as human before their change, which is why the dead bodies we see in this episode do not count as transformations. I seem to have set a precedent with Tina in Killed by Death that I will count bodies seen as dead, providing we get a clear indication of how they died. So no morgue bodies, that body we could barely see in Teacher's Pet, or that rando skeleton in Anne. With that being said, I'm going to have to make an executive decision on how I count Pat for this episode, because so much happens to her in such a short space of time. So here we go. We have 6 deaths again. 3 humans, car crash dude, burn victim, and Pat, killed by a zombie somehow. 1 transformation, again Pat, who I will count only once for this category, because counting her human death nullifies her zombie transformation, but she does become a demon that she never comes back from. 1 vampire, this dude at the beginning that Buffy dusted, and finally 1 demon. Pat again, sort of. Technically Ovu Mabani, who got poked in the eyes by Buffy and blipped out of existence. So that brings our running total to 5 humans, 1 transformation, 2 vampires, and 4 demons. So there you have it. That was Dead Man's Party. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot. Or consider subscribing if you want more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and don't let the vampires bite.